Curiosity sparked by a brief story. When reading the Bible, many believers find inspiration, guidance, and sometimes mysterious stories that spark curiosity. One of these is the story of Satan attempting to seize Moses' body, briefly mentioned in the Epistle of Jude, Jude 1:9. This verse highlights the role of the Archangel Michael, who, instead of directly disputing with Satan, chooses to call upon the power of God to handle the issue. But why would Satan care about Moses' body? And what makes this brief story one of the most widely discussed topics in biblical studies? The significance of Moses and his body in spiritual history. Before exploring why Satan wanted to claim Moses' body, it's essential to understand Moses' role in Israel's history and the Bible. Moses was not only a great leader, but also a prophet, chosen by God to lead his people through the most challenging times. He delivered God's laws, led the Israelites out of Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, and endured the wilderness journey. With these achievements and his steadfast faith, his body became a sacred symbol of liberation and unwavering belief in God's power. The body of Moses, a sacred symbol. For many believers, the contested nature of Moses' body is more than a struggle between good and evil. It serves as a symbol of faith and surrender, evidence that God will never abandon his followers. In ancient Israelite culture, having a tomb where people could visit to honor a leader was profoundly meaningful. Yet, with Moses, God personally concealed his body, protecting the remains of a righteous man from any potential misuse or intervention from enemies. Reasons why Satan wanted to seize Moses' body. 1. Preventing Moses' positive influence. One of the first and most understandable reasons many biblical scholars propose is that Satan sought to reduce Moses' influence on the people. Satan understood that Moses' body could become a powerful symbol, a vivid reminder of faith and perseverance. By taking or destroying this body, Satan could prevent the Israelites from recalling Moses' legacy, thereby impacting their unity and their faith in God. 2. Disrupting God's plan. Although Moses was faithful to God, he was forbidden from entering the Promised Land due to some failings. This was not only a consequence, but also a lesson to remind the Israelites that everyone must adhere to God's will. His body was buried in Moab's valley by God himself. Satan might have seen this as an opportunity to undermine the people's faith by interfering with God's plan. If Moses' body were revealed or desecrated, the people could doubt God's intentions and feel insecure, weakening their trust in his guidance. 3. The danger of false worship. Throughout Israel's history, the people often struggled with idol worship. Moses was deeply revered, and if his body were found or displayed, it could lead people to worship him, potentially turning him into an idol. Satan could exploit this to divert the Israelites from God, creating confusion in their faith and leading them down a path of idol worship. The Bible emphasizes that worship is reserved for God alone, and any other form of reverence is deemed idolatry. 4. Testing God's power and justice. Satan's act of seizing Moses' body could be seen as a challenge to God's power. It was also an opportunity for the Archangel Michael to demonstrate absolute respect for God's authority. Michael did not accuse Satan on his own authority. Instead, he invoked God's judgment, saying, "The Lord rebuke you." This showcases that all angels respect God's justice and power, and that only God has ultimate authority in any decision or judgment. Influence of the story in extra-biblical literature. Beyond biblical explanations, this detail also appears in a non-canonical Jewish text known as the Assumption of Moses. Although the original text has been lost, surviving fragments suggest that it elaborated on the dispute over Moses' body between Michael and Satan. This shows that Jewish tradition also regarded this story as a lesson about faith and loyalty, emphasizing that humans should never underestimate God's power and judgment. Conclusion: lessons from the story of Moses' body. The story of the dispute over Moses' body is more than a myth or a small biblical reference. It is a profound reminder that we must place our complete trust in God's judgment and power, just as Michael did when facing Satan. We do not need to confront evil with our own strength or authority, but should instead call upon God's intervention and judgment. This story also reminds us that no matter how significant a person's contributions may be, Worship and ultimate loyalty must always be directed to God.